Okay, so jumping right into this Form 990 EZ. Okay, so jumping right into Form 990 EZ, and I'm just going to go ahead and use some um, general information on here. I'm not going to put what is really my information, but just to give you an idea how we would fill this out if we did the form by hand. Very, very simple. Okay. So clearly this is a form for 2023. This is not the form that I used. The next form that we will fill out will be for 2024. If you have not done your forms for 2023, 2022, 2021, you can go back at least 3 years and catch up on your forms. Let's say that you didn't know how to do it, or somebody just handed you the treasury of a nonprofit that they haven't done their reports for a few years, and you want to go back and do them, you can go back each year. Just make sure that your end of the year totals that they match year over year. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm gonna put in here um I don't have an exemption number. Let's go for a city. I'm gonna go with Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay, now I mean, if you're having less than $50,000 in revenue, more than likely you're doing the cash method. So I'm just going with what more or less it would be. We're not a 501(c)(3) at this time. I'm talking about 501(c)(4). Okay, that's the class that we're doing, a 501(c)(4). So that's how you're going to fill that part out. We're not a corporation, right? We're a tax exempt. So we're not over here on this line L. We don't have any gross receipts over 200,000 or more assets, right? So file form 990. If we have those, we're gonna file the 990, but this is the easy. How can we see? It's up here, 990 easy. Okay, contribution grants. I'm gonna just fill this out as a zero. Let's say that you do have your financial statements, you know that these totals are different. You can still fill this out by hand. You don't have to pay the software. There is a little bit of a, there are softwares that are relatively inexpensive that will help you do this fairly quickly, but I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, like how they showed us in college, right? Okay, if you have any revenue, of course, you want to put your totals here, but I'm doing this as a zero. We don't have any gross sales, and our total revenue here is zero. So if I had any expenses, I would put them here, but since I don't, all of these are zero. My net assets at the end of the year, it's also zero. So beginning of year, zero, end of year, zero, total, beginning of year, end of year, zero. What is our primacy? I'm going to say advocacy or margin of communities. Um, we didn't have any grants, so I'm just going to leave this as a zero. We do have, I'm gonna say 5, 0. Okay, and then here, let's just put somebody else's name. I'm gonna, just for the sake of putting somebody else's name out there, which this is not true to form, this is not exactly true. I'm just making up names on here, people that I know that will possibly be, so we're gonna put her as the president. And this, again, this is not true. This is just me saying, more or less who else. Um, mm, let's put Anna. And again, like I said, these are just people that I know that are in the audience that might be watching. Okay, and so I mean, you know your nonprofit, you know who your board members are. This is where we list our officers, directors, trustees, key employees. In this case, most of us we don't have employees and our small nonprofits are community organizing projects, but we will have board members, and this is where you'll list your board. And of course, the average amount of hours that they work per week, whether or not they get any compensation, blah blah. Go through here. Did the organization engage in any significant activity not previously reported? This is all no, should be no. I mean, if you're not going to make any changes to your organizing or governing documents, but if you did, you would disclose it here. Um, did you have any? We're reporting zeros, so we put no on all this. No liquidations, no political expenses. This one. No loans. We don't give loans to our board members or trustees. We didn't get any. Oh, well, we're not a C3 yet, so we don't have to fill this one out. But if we were the a C3 with some people, this should be no. Some people will get a C3 after having a C4. Of course, then those are different reporting requirements. Zero for, I mean, this is a zero activity tax return. If you have $3,000, $2,500, whatever's coming in, then you're going to plug those numbers in. And again, like I said, there are little softwares that you can buy that will help walk you through that. Let's just say, who did I put as a treasurer? Hilda. No, 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 no. And here, you have to answer honestly. We're not a C3 again for this part 6, so we don't have to fill that out. If we engaged in lobbying, we would have to put on here, which we don't. So we're not a school. This is a zero activity refund. Yeah, tax return. So nobody paid over 100,000, but we're already done. We don't have a Schedule A. Why? Because we have zero activity. Now, like I said, if you have $10,000 in activity, you have $50,000 in activity, then clearly, if you have $50 in activity, then you have to fill it out where and when on this. But as you can see, this was how many pages? 4 pages. Everything was mostly no. It's just, say who your treasurer is, where your books are kept, who are your board members, how many hours do they spend doing their volunteer work, do they get any compensation, health benefits. If it's zero, put zero. Most of the time, we don't have any activity. Um, you would want to put your organization's primary extent purpose on here. What is it that we do that it makes us not have to pay taxes in our activity? We are doing advocacy. And again, this is from 2023. There will be a new form coming out for 2024. None of this information I put in here is actual data from somebody. It's just something I made up in my head. But these are where the information go. So when it's time for you to fill it out, like especially here, if this is your first return, go ahead and click initial return. They know you have never filed before, so they're not going to get confused. If it's not your initial return, you know, then you're not going to click anything. Don't click any of these boxes because it's not applicable. And if you're going to stop your activities, of course you could mark final return terminated. I wish the state of Texas had that for their ethics commission filing, but they have not figured that out yet. Okay, so I know that this doesn't show you an actual finished tax return. Again, if you do need someone to go over your tax return with you, I'm available to help you with that. But I wanted you to be able to see the return, see that it's not that complicated. And that all we're going to do in here is, with the revenue, put your amounts of what came in. It will show you on here more or less what they expect your revenues to be. Then you have your expense section here. What are your expenses for the nonprofit? You would put them there. And then, of course, your net assets. It's going to have you do a little bit of math down here to see what you come to on line 21, but not rocket science, guys, at all. Now, if you do have any cash savings, investments, land, buildings, big stuff, then your balance sheet will reflect that. But in this case, again, I'm showing you how to do the easy form. These are for people who want to start up their nonprofit under a 501(c)(4) category. And then they have to file an annual tax return to keep in good standing with the IRS. And that's this form that I'm showing you here. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to go over your 990 with you. Again, if once you have filed your EIN with the IRS, your name and your entity will pop up on the website under charities. So as long as you know how to look for your nonprofit, which the way I would suggest, if it's a LULAC affiliate, that in your name when you register that you put the acronym LULAC or the name of the league, which is League of United Latin American Citizens. So those are identifiers, quick identifiers, where if you ever need to just prove to somebody, hey, I do have a tax ID, I am tax exempt, you can give to me, then they can quickly and easily pull you up on the IRS website, verify that you do have tax status with the IRS, and boom. Okay, now your grant goes through, now your funding goes through, they can verify you. This is the first step, right, for the federal requirements. Of course, each state has their own requirements, and we'll get into that next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it came out informative for you. Like I said, if you need any help to fill this form out, I am available. Just give me a call.